You know that feeling you really want to grasp a new skill, maybe especially something like truly understanding spoken English, but there's just so much advice out there, it can feel like a tidal wave.
Right.
You're looking for that shortcut, To get well informed, find those aha moments that just make learning click.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're aiming for today. We've gathered insights from, well, a whole range of experiences and practical strategies, and they all circle back to one powerful idea: improving your English listening naturally.
Yeah.
Think of this deep dive as your curated guide. We want to help you become a more confident, more fluent listener just by using the power of everyday interactions.
And the core idea we're really unpacking today, the big takeaway, is that mastering listening, it doesn't really come from textbooks. It comes from embracing the real-world English that's, well, all around you, even if you only catch bits and pieces at first.
Exactly. We want to show you why that seemingly small shift is actually so powerful.
Our goal is to pull out the most surprising, the most useful nuggets from all these sources, specifically for you. So let's jump in.
Okay.
So our first big discovery, the one that just kept popping up in every story we looked at, is this: your daily life. That's your most powerful English classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Forget the rigid study sessions for a bit. The world itself, that's your best teacher.
And what's really fascinating here is how often the biggest steps forward to those real breakthroughs, they just come from being present.
Yeah.
Observing, treating every single interaction as a chance to learn.
Right.
The key insight, really, is that you don't need to understand every single word to get the meaning. Your brain is amazing at recognizing patterns.
Yeah, it is.
So instead of getting bogged down trying to catch every little vocabulary item, focus on the big picture, the overall idea, the emotion in the voice, the tone, the rhythm, those common phrases you hear again and again.
Learning to guess from context.
Exactly. It's not just a trick. It's a fundamental skill. It builds confidence.
That makes so much sense. But okay, for someone just starting out, isn't it easy to feel, overwhelmed, trying to catch everything in a real conversation? How do you avoid that trap?
Oh, absolutely. That initial feeling of, whoa, too much, is totally normal. But the trick, like we saw in so many stories, isn't trying to understand every word. It's focusing on those broader signals.
Okay.
We heard about Daniel from South Africa who moved to the UK. Now, he initially struggled, fast speech, idioms, different accents.
Sure, common issues.
Right. His breakthrough, it came from just quietly listening. In coffee shops, on trains, supermarkets. He wasn't interrupting or anything, just observing, focusing on the tone, the rhythm.
Passive learning almost.
Sort of. He picked up phrases like, I'm just popping out, just by hearing them over and over and then maybe looking them up later. It shows how just being present starts training your ear.
So like being a linguistic detective, picking up clues, not just words in isolation.
Precisely. And we saw this pattern again with Andrew, a delivery driver in London, originally from Kenya. He literally turned his job into learning. Customer instructions like, can you leave the package by the gate?
Yeah.
He turned those into mini lessons. He even kept a little notebook in his van, jotted down new words, reviewed them on breaks. His quote really stuck with me. I don't study English with a book. I study it with my ears.
Wow, that's powerful. Real world exposure right there.
Totally. And it goes beyond just passive listening, too. Look at Sarah, a grocery cashier in Canada. She actively engaged with customers, even the fast-speaking ones, by asking short, common questions. How's your day? Hey, things like that. Then she listened for the replies. I'm doing good, thanks. Or, no, I'm all set.
And started using them herself.
Exactly. She started using them, and the language felt more natural. She solidified her understanding by using it in context.
That makes sense.
And Ahmed, a taxi driver in Birmingham, he took it even further. Turned his car into a listening space.
Yeah.
Played English podcasts, news, specifically tuning into accents, questions, directions.
So he adapted.
Yeah, he adapted to different accents. He could understand nuance, things like, could you take the longer route today? I want to enjoy the view, without needing it repeated.
You know what all these stories really highlight is that context. Context is your ultimate cheat sheet.
That's a great way to put it.
You're not just hearing words, you're deciphering a whole scene, right? A social interaction.
Okay.
Whether it was Oliver at the post office in Australia understanding, I need to send this package express, just from the situation.
Right, the context told him.
Or Henry, the bakery worker in Canada, listening specifically for question phrases like, can you? To figure out what customers wanted. They all tapped into that situational understanding.
They didn't wait for a classroom. They just created one wherever they happened to be.
Okay, so moving on from just being present, our sources then really pointed towards the power of intentional practice,
Yeah.
but built into your existing life.
Yeah, and this is where it gets really interesting.
It's not about huge study blocks, is it? It's about building tiny, consistent habits into your daily routine. These sources kept showing that small, deliberate actions, they lead to massive progress over time.
Which raises a really important question. How do you actually build these habits into lives that are already busy?
Right.
The key seems to be deliberate repetition and active engagement, even if it's just for a few minutes. Cognitively speaking, short, consistent bursts of practice, especially with repetition, train your brain.
Mm-hmm.
They help it recognize patterns, make connections automatically.
So you're building those neural pathways.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
Making your brain more efficient at processing English sounds, structures.
It's like exercising a muscle, isn't it? We heard about Olivia, a nurse. She improved her listening just by putting on an English podcast every morning while making breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't stop to look up every word. She just let her brain get used to it over time, kind of guessing the meaning. It became background noise that slowly started making sense.
Exactly. That low-pressure exposure is key.
Yeah.
And others took a more active, multi-layered approach, like Jacob, an engineering student from Poland studying in the U.S.
What did you do?
He recorded his lectures, listened back multiple times. First, just for the main ideas. Second, for key vocabulary. And third, he did shadowing.
Shadowing? What's that exactly?
It's where you listen and you repeat out loud almost immediately after the speaker.
Yeah.
Like a vocal echo.
Ah, okay.
The point isn't perfect pronunciation. It's synchronizing your speech with the speaker's rhythm and flow. It trains your mouth and ears together, builds that muscle memory for fluency.
That sounds intense but effective.
It can be. And Jacob also made this crucial mindset shift. He said, I stopped worrying about understanding everything. I started listening for meaning. That perspective shift is so vital.
I love that idea of shadowing, synchronizing your speech. We also saw the power of just simple, consistent repetition with Rachel, a receptionist in Manchester.
Mm-hmm. Her story was interesting.
She listened to short English conversations daily. Didn't stop if she didn't understand everything, just let it flow, listened again the next day. But she also had this unique habit.
The bedtime repetition.
Yeah. Repeating the last sentence she heard before bed 5 times, something like, I'll take care of it tomorrow. Just repeating it. She said it helped solidify phrases in her mind.
That kind of targeted, almost meditative repetition can be incredibly powerful. It really embeds the language.
And it's not just for individuals either.
No, definitely not. Robert and Lisa from Brazil living in Australia, they had a dedicated 10-minute English time after dinner. Read dialogues, listened to recordings, repeated them together.
And that helped.
It helped Robert understand a cashier asking, do you want to round up to the nearest dollar for charity? Because he'd heard similar language chunks in their practice.
Pattern recognition again.
Exactly. And Naomi from Japan. Amazing progress, just repeating one short audio every morning for 7 days straight. That focus helped her master phrases like, I'll get back to you this afternoon.
It's about making these small, deliberate engagements, not grand, overwhelming gestures.
Totally.
So, okay, these stories give us some really practical, actionable principles for building strong listening habits.
Yes. Think of it like training your brain to be an active listener, not just a passive receiver. First, that shadowing technique we mentioned.
Right. Listen, then repeat immediately, copying the sound and rhythm.
And you can even record yourself. Compare it to the original. That gives you immediate feedback, strengthens those connections between hearing and speaking.
Good tip.
What else? Second, visualize. When you hear a description, try to actually picture it clearly in your mind. Like if you hear Daniel open the door and saw snow falling outside, really see that scene.
Engages more of your brain.
Exactly. Helps with comprehension, helps with memory. Third, listen with a purpose.
Meaning.
Before you start listening, ask yourself a specific question like, what are they talking about? Or who is speaking? It focuses your attention, helps you filter the information, turns passive listening into active searching.
Okay, that makes sense, like giving your brain a mission.
Mm-hmm. Fourth, focus on rhythm and stress. English isn't flat. It has a kind of musicality.
Yeah, some words are stronger.
Right. Listen for those emphasized words. They're often the key to the meaning. Are you going to the store? Tells you more than just a flat reading. Spotting those peaks helps you find the meaning.
Finding the meaning mountain. I like that.
And finally, maybe the simplest but most crucial. Dedicate a small daily slot. Turn everyday moments, making breakfast, walking the dog, cleaning into English practice time.
Even just 5 or 10 minutes.
Absolutely. Consistency is way more effective than long, sporadic sessions. It's about making English a natural part of your day, not some extra chore you have to schedule.
Okay, so we've got immersion, we've got consistent practice. What does this all mean for you, the listener? It sounds like it means being strategic. Strategic about what you listen to and how you approach different situations.
Yes, exactly.
And our sources were just full of these inspiring examples of people really tailoring their practice to what they needed, showing incredible ingenuity, actually.
And if you connect that to the bigger picture, it's all about making your learning journey super relevant to your life, your job, thinking critically about your environment and what you need to understand.
All right.
The key insight here is to identify your specific listening challenges. Is it a particular accent? Is it technical jargon at work? Is it just the speed people talk?
Mm-hmm.
And then target those things with the right materials and techniques.
That's such a practical way to look at it, but I can imagine someone listening thinking, okay, but what if I don't have daily interactions like a cashier or a taxi driver?
Yeah.
How does this apply if you're in a less public-facing role?
That's a great question. And it really underlines the need for tailored strategies, sometimes ones you have to create yourself. Many of our sources showed people deliberately creating these opportunities. Think about Peter, the supermarket worker in Australia. He wasn't just passively stocking shelves. He focused on common customer questions. Can you help me find the dairy section?
Right, things he'd hear often.
Exactly. And learned specific phrases like gluten-free bread by observing, using context, maybe asking a coworker, or Michael, the warehouse worker in Canada.
What did he do?
He recorded the safety announcements. Attention all workers, please wear your safety helmets. And listen back during breaks. Focus specifically on key safety words. Caution, exit, emergency.
Hyper-relevant content for his job.
Immensely powerful. That kind of focus on what you need to understand.
I also love the example of Helen, the clinic receptionist in Ireland, who kept a listening journal.
Yeah, that was clever.
Every day, she'd write down maybe 3 expressions she didn't know, then look them up or ask friends. That's how she learned, I'm just here for a quick checkup. It's about actively tackling those gaps, isn't it?
Precisely. You're not just letting unknown phrases wash over you. You're capturing them. And others focus more on the social side of things.
Like Tom.
Yeah, Tom, the office cleaner in London. He improved just by listening to staff conversations around him, picking up polite phrases, small talk. He learned, let me double check that for you, just by hearing it used naturally over and over.
Learning the social lubricant of language?
Kind of. Or Mia, the librarian in the UK. She focused on active listening, paying attention to body language, facial expressions, not just the words.
How did that help?
Well, she understood a visitor asking for the latest book by this author when they couldn't remember the name, but just showed her a picture on their phone. The context, the visual cue, it all added up.
It shows how much communication happens beyond just the words.
Absolutely. And for people wanting broader exposure, Rachel, another librarian, this time in Canada, joined a local English-speaking club just to listen to group conversations, different speakers, ask questions.
Get that variety.
Exactly. And David, from Spain, he deliberately sought out English speakers from different regions, news, online videos specifically to get used to diverse accents, to become more flexible.
Okay, so there are lots of ways to tailor this. What are some sort of key strategies listeners can take away for this kind of strategic learning?
Yeah, we can group them into a few key areas. First, think about language units bigger than single words.
Okay.
So listen for chunks of language. Those phrases that often stick together, like, how can I help you? Or can I have your name, please? Your brain processes those faster as a single unit.
Makes sense.
And related to that, practice listening for the main idea. Don't get completely stuck if you miss a word or two. Focus on the core message.
Don't miss the forest for the trees.
Exactly. Second big area. Leverage tools and resources strategically.
Like subtitles.
Yeah. Use subtitles strategically. Start with them if you need to connect sounds and words. But then, crucially, practice without them to really push your listening skills.
Challenge yourself.
Right. Also, focus on numbers and dates. They're so critical in daily life, appointments, prices, schedules. Make a point of listening for them. And even things like using GPS apps with voice directions like Thomas the delivery driver did. That's focus practice on specific phrases like turn left in 200 meters.
Using technology smartly.
And third, embrace social and contextual immersion.
Okay.
Actively practice listening to instructions, whether it's cooking from a recipe video, assembling furniture, or work safety stuff like Michael did. And for broader exposure, listen to public announcements, Train stations, airports, supermarkets. They often use clear, standard phrasing.
Good training ground.
Yeah, and a powerful mental technique is predicting. Try to actively guess what the speaker might say next. Keeps your brain really engaged.
Keeps you one step ahead.
Sort of. And finally, join conversation clubs or groups. Or just connect with neighbors or friends for that organic, low-pressure practice. But the thread through all of this, listen to topics that genuinely interest you.
Because enjoyment helps learning stick.
Fundamentally, whether it's weather reports, health podcasts, sports commentary, whatever you enjoy, that interest is a huge motivator.
Wow, okay. We have covered a lot today, exploring how these simple yet really powerful strategies can genuinely transform your English listening. From immersing yourself in real conversations, basically making your daily life your classroom,
Right.
to that targeted repetition, and then strategically tailoring your practice to what you need. The path to natural, confident listening seems much clearer.
And remember, understanding English, it's really not about knowing every single word. It's about catching the main idea, feeling the emotion behind the words, and being able to respond naturally.
Yeah.
It's definitely a journey of continuous improvement. Every small step, every little clue you pick up from the context, it all counts. It all adds up.
So before we wrap up, here's maybe one final thought for you to mull over. Imagine your brain is like this brilliant linguistic detective. Every time you listen, you're not just hearing sounds. You're gathering clues, the tone, the rhythm, the situation, the key words, and you're connecting those clues to build a clearer picture, even if some pieces are missing initially.
I like that analogy.
So the real question is, what fascinating clue, what piece of the puzzle will you choose to actively uncover in your English world today?
That's a great question to leave people with. Just keep practicing, keep listening actively, and stay curious. You'll honestly be amazed at the progress you make.